Good afternoon, welcome to the Newport Centre. After 6 days of fabulous snooker, we have reached the final. It has been a wonderful week here at the Bet Victor Welsh Open. And tonight, Stuart Bingham or Stephen Maguire will be lifting this trophy.
My first ever venue I qualified for. I got to the quarterfinals that year, lost to actor Joe Swell. I qualified for the Crucible. My first time here, it's just a nice place for me, sort of good memories.
I feel as if I've underachieved really. In the 11 years that I've been a professional, I've only won 4 ranking events, and it's not good enough really. So to get another one and then hopefully push on after that.
I think he's come on this season. I think he's got his, I wouldn't say his act together, but he's maybe been practicing a bit and his game's come good.
Stuart Bingham in the last 2 years improved probably 50%. He couldn't quite make that breakthrough for whatever reason. Maybe it was a little bit of self-belief he never had. And then obviously he won that tournament out in Australia, and since he won that, he's a completely different player.
Loads of people have won this to sort of start their career off, so to pick up the Welsh Open trophy would mean a lot to me. Any trophy, obviously, but so I've had good memories here, so it'd be great to pick it up.
I came down to this tournament just try to get to the quarter-final really, get to the best of 9s, and then it's a proper tournament. And once I got there, I felt quite relaxed, and I've seemed to push on the last couple of matches. So one more match to go, and hopefully I'll be picking up that trophy.
It promises to be a cracking final. All week I've thoroughly enjoyed the words of wisdom from the 1979 world champion, Terry Griffiths. Terry, good afternoon to you. How excited are you about this final, and what qualities do these players bring today?
Well, I think everybody here today is excited. A big crowd, one table situation, the final of a major ranking tournament. How can you not be excited, let's be honest about it? But both players obviously are very special. They've had great weeks here. What they're bringing forward into this final, of course, is belief and confidence because of how well they've done this week. It's a very even match, I think. I don't think there's much in it with the bookies, and they are normally pretty accurate with their odds.
What about Stephen Maguire? He was a beaten finalist here against John Higgins in 2011. Does that help? Does that hinder, knowing he has been beaten in this event?
I shouldn't think so. It'll help him that he's been here before, and obviously what you've got to do is learn from your mistakes. And I think then he was 5-3 up and lost the evening session. He struggled a bit, but I don't think he'd be thinking too much about that. He'd be thinking about what he's going to focus on today to win the match.
One of the performances of the week has been Stuart Bingham, especially against Neil Robertson, and we've been describing him all week as the king of the comeback. That clearance against Robertson set him on the path to this final, didn't it?
Very much so. It's a big win for him anyway because Neil is such a good player. But also he was in trouble against Ding yesterday in the semi-final, and then really responded well when he looked down and out at one time. So it was a great result for him.
Am I going to get a prediction from you?
I think that whoever gets the 9 first will definitely win the final.
Very good. Let's see how these two match up then. And it really is a fascinating matchup. They've played 8 times. You cannot split them. 4 wins apiece. The last time they met here was in 2008. Stuart Bingham won in the second round. In fact, you have to go back to the UK Championships in 2009 for Maguire's last win over the Englishman. Well, Dominic Dale has been part of our team this week, and he's with our commentators, Darren Morgan and Willie Thorne. Good afternoon, Dominic.
Good afternoon, Jason. Good afternoon, everybody. Yes, I'm in the commentary position here with our 2 commentators for this afternoon's match, Darren Morgan and Willie Thorne. Willie, if I can start with you. Steve Maguire hasn't won a major championship since 2008. Stuart Bingham has. Do you think that's going to have any bearing on this afternoon's match?
Well, it could do. He's got beaten 6 finals during that time. He has won one of the smaller tournaments, one of the PTCs, but there's nothing breeds confidence more than winning. And, of course, he hasn't won a major, as you rightly say, for quite a number of years, and Bingham has. I think they're both playing very, very well. I think it's a real tough one to call, and I'm really looking forward to commentating on it. Yeah, that's great. Darren, I'm going to ask you a question. Who's your money on this afternoon?
I think Terry said it's a bit too close to call, really. I mean, Stephen Maguire last night, he had a run of 5 frames. He was absolutely scintillating, in knocking over Judd Trump. OK, Judd Trump wasn't at his best, but Stuart Bingham this week has done some unbelievable clearances. The one against Neil Robertson to pinch the match out of the bag, looked like he was on his way up the motorway, and he did it again in his last match, and he's full of confidence. So it's going to be an hard one to call. If I had to put my head on the block, I'd probably go with experience, and I'd go with Stephen Maguire.
Well, thank you both for those comments. Well, I'm sure you've heard the views of our commentators. They're ready, I'm ready, and I'm very sure backstage our players are ready. So I'm going to introduce our MC for this afternoon. He's the talker. He's Rob Walker.
Thanks, Dominic. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. After 6 days of world-class snooker, this is it. It's the big one. Welcome to the final of the 2013 Bet Victor Welsh Open. Neither player has won this title before, so sporting history will be made tonight, right here in Newport. Please welcome a player who in his 18th year as a pro is producing the best snooker of his life. His comebacks against Neil Robertson and Ding Junhui were sublime. Bidding for his 4th major title this season. He's a Premier League winner, he's an Australian Open winner. The Basildon boys are here to cheer. Ladies and gentlemen, here comes the ball run. Here comes Stuart Bingham! And his opponent, contesting his 2nd Welsh Open final in 3 years. One of the nicest guys on the circuit. Winner of 4 ranking event titles in all, but he is really, really hungry for this one. Beating the incumbent world #1 Judd Trump last night. He's the pride of Glasgow, and when he's good, he's on fire. Stephen Maguire!
Well, what a match this could be. Both these players have come into this final in great form. As we discussed with Darren and myself in the commentary box, Maguire hasn't won a major for 5 or 6 years, and Stuart Bingham has. He won the Australian Open last year. But Darren, I think, as you rightly said in your interview with Dominic, it's a real tough one to call.
Well, it is, and you know, I did say Stephen Maguire, and the only reason for that is for his experience. But I mean, Stuart Bingham, you know, in the last couple of seasons, he's shown all the promise, and he's actually made that promise come to fruition. He's been around a long time. People thought he'd have made his mark a lot sooner than he has, but he's arrived now. It'll be an interesting encounter.
Yes, both break building from these two players is first class. Bingham's already made 4 competitive 147, so in and around the black spot, they're both very, very good. Straight away, Maguire's going to be taking this pot on, I think. Something that has been noticeable this week, Darren, I don't know why it is different from tournament to tournament, but some tournaments they break off and you never leave that shot to nothing, then other tournaments you're leaving it virtually every time.
Yes, I do agree with you, Willie. And Maguire failed to make his long pot. Will Bingham get his? He played it perfect weight, and I think he's been unfortunate there. He's played for the full hole cannon, and that cue ball just slid past the red. And there you can see he's in a bit of trouble now.
Yes, it's amazing, isn't it? Well, you'd expect once you've made the cannon on the pack to be on that black, but it just caught it just not centre ball, did it? Just virtually 3/4 ball and just pushed the red into the way. Ideally, he'd like to probably get to the yellow, because even if he, you know, hits the yellow full ball, it would be a difficult long red he's leaving.
Yellow.
He is playing the yellow. He'd love to hit it thin, because you know that Maguire would go for that long red should he hit the yellow full ball.
Fault and miss.
Good effort.
Bingham won.
Stephen Maguire will probably have the miss taken, because he knows that if it's full ball, he'll have a long pot on.
Put back. Yeah. Yellow ball.
Well, missed it by a couple of inches on the right-hand side. He moved a little bit, and now he's gone 3 or 4 inches on the left-hand side. I'm sure this time we'll get very close to being right. He's playing it pacey, because he'd like to try and hit the yellow and get the white towards the baulk cushion as well.
Yellow ball. Fault and miss. Maguire fault.
This is where the game can be a little cruel. He's played a good pot on a red, and all of a sudden he finds himself 11 points behind and counting.
Yellow ball.
Oh, you're kidding. That's missed it by an absolute
Maguire fault.
fag paper almost. Nowhere near the world record yet for number of points given away. I think that's something like 48 or something. Oh, mind you, that white has now come back into open play, and I'm sure that Stephen Maguire will take this red on. So that was the problem. Well, it's only because he's hampered. If he wasn't hampered, he'd be taking it on. In fairness, I'm a little surprised even being hampered he's not taking it on, because Bingham will hit it shortly and he won't have an easier shot than that.
Yellow ball.
You can see where the cue ball ended up, and I thought it had taken that long pot on, but he's having another try now.
Foul and miss. Maguire fault.
Quite a comfy seat there for Stephen, watching Bingham struggle with his last few shots.
Yes, and even though at the moment really it isn't going to play a big part of the frame because there's so many reds left up, it could play a big part towards the end of the frame. All these fours that are being given away. This time he's in off now. You would fancy Stephen Maguire to play this long red to the left corner. He can put the cue ball anywhere he wants in the D.
Yes, he probably felt that he'd like it straighter than a couple of shots ago. He left him this red on from ball a little bit further in the table than that. mean, if it was an exhibition match, he'd pot the red and kiss into the 2 reds that are covering the black spot, but that's a little bit dangerous because they're going to be in the way when the black goes back onto its own spot.
Well, he was a long way off with that one. Obviously, this is the first frame of the finals, very important for them. So you'd have to say both players haven't quite settled just yet. Normally takes a frame, frame and a half to get comfortable out there.
Looks like he's trying to play an aggressive safety shot here, bringing reds into play, getting the cue ball in behind the black. Decided against it though because he's too near the cushion. That's what he would like to have done. Don't really want to start this final with a re-rack.
Touching.
All this will do, of course, is help settle both the players down. This little bit of protracted safety. It's blue tip. Doesn't make an awful lot of difference apart from the fact that he's going to be right up next to the black.
Black ball. Stephen Maguire, 1.
They look easy shots back at home, but I can assure you that wasn't. It's very easy to just give that cue ball too much of an hard hit than it's needed, and cue in tight off the cushion. Very easy to slip the tip of the cue straight over the top and miss cue, but he played it well. Now, he had an anxious look there, Stuart Bingham, as he's gone back to his chair. He thought for a minute he'd left an angle for Maguire to get through to this red. I think it's very tight, and if he can get through to it, he'll be playing it. I think it's just going to be a little too tight for him.
Left a little tempter here for Steve Maguire. Will certainly play the red in the middle. He can just screw back a couple of inches and leave Stuart Snooker on all the open reds and on the black if it goes in. So he can play either the one into the green pocket or the one in the middle. He's decided on the one in the middle. Normal service will be resumed now. This
is what I mean by them early points that Stephen Maguire was given. All of a sudden, even though he's only on a break of 9 and counting, he's already 37 points to the good. It doesn't really mean a lot at the start. The frame misses, giving 4s away. It's unbelievable how he comes into play towards the end. It's quite funny when you play an amateur tournament, you've got to give 14 start or whatever they say. Well, it's not a lot to give. But it is when you come down to the last couple of balls. I think Maguire just wants to get on with it so he can get on with it, but a very good referee, and obviously she had a little bit of trouble getting a little bit of dirt or grit off that cue ball. For some reason sometimes you might have more of an idea, Willie, we get like little black marks come onto the cue ball and it's really ingrained into it, and it's a perfectly smooth surface that it's ingrained to as well.
Yeah, it's usually when you get a kick, isn't it? There's a little bit of an explosion when you get a kick.
16.
You can see the black mark on that ball there. You can just run through and flick the red away from the pink here, beyond the choice of pink or black.
17.
And this is now obviously a chance to win the frame of this visit.
$23. $24. $30. $31.
Not too sure whether any of these three reds will pot in the right-hand corner as we look. We'll know by the way he plays this. You can see they don't pot in the left-hand corner from that shot there. So that's why he's played for the red in the middle. And that, of course, will open the other two reds up. So if this goes in, it's virtually frame ball anyway, but he'll certainly win the frame if he knocks this in. He's going to be perfect on the black or pink. Yeah, good shot.
39.
So, still one
41.
pot away from making sure in this frame. The only thing you can think of him playing the pink there, you've had to play the black. There's a lot of left-hand side to swing past the two reds, so he's left this a little bit more awkward than it should have been. Well, he's made sure of it. So a little bit of a tentative end to this effort. The main thing is the red went in.
It's been a strange opening frame as far as Stuart's concerned. He hasn't really played a bad shot. And you know, he gave 20 odd points away in fouls. And he plotted a good opening red. Just remains to be seen whether should Steve Maguire miss one of these next couple of shots, whether Stuart will come back to the table or just have a bit of potting practice. I know Terry Griffiths doesn't necessarily agree with that. He tends to think, well, you've done all your practice on the practice table. You shouldn't really need a practice, but I always used to think if it was first frame, I'd like to have a few shots on the table. That's an excellent red. Excellent shot. May not get the chance to come back to the table anyway now.
$55. $56.
Got into that very nicely. The cue ball came back very, very quickly.
63.
It's a sign of good queuing. He's been queuing pretty well all week.
64. $71.
Well, what a great effort to break up 71 from Stephen Maguire. A little bit unlucky Stuart Bingham there, but it's cost him the first frame. Maguire takes it 100 points to 1 and leads 1-0.
Well, last night in the semi-final, Stephen Maguire talked about being aggressive on the tables. Taking his chance there, Dominic.
Yeah, fantastic start from Steve Maguire, won the first frame comfortably. I mean, Stuart potted an excellent long red at the beginning of the frame, was so unlucky not to be on the black, and from there everything just went wrong for him. But, you know, he'll settle down when he wins his first frame, and from his point of view, let's hope it's now, because you never really settle down in any match until you get that first frame on the board. The
one thing I like about Stuart Bingham, and I've been talking to him throughout the week, he's a lovely guy. What I like about him, he's just so relaxed.
Yes, he is. I mean, you know, you're in the final now, though. You know, and
I mean, look at this. He's just about to be introduced to the arena. He's having his photo taken.
He loves having his photo taken.
But that's very nice, isn't it?
It's a nice touch, you know, because there'll be a time when you're, say, 60 years old, nobody knows who on earth you are, you know, and this is your legacy, you know, how many autographs have you signed in your career, you know. You look back in years' time, you know, you'll see your autograph in books and things written about you. is wonderful.
But as you say, he just needs to get a frame under his belt, just settle down now.
Yes, I mean, as long as he's on 0, Steve Maguire will try and keep him there because, as I say, Stuart Bingham will not settle down until he wins his first frame, and then he'll be away and we should have a fantastic final, let's hope.
OK, so Maguire leads by a frame to 0. He's about to break. Let's go back then to our commentary team, Darren Morgan and Willie Thorne.
So Steve Maguire breaking off. You'd be quite happy with that first frame, the way it transpired. It's a very good point that Dominic made. No player really settles until they get a frame on the board. So it's going to be imperative for Stuart Bingham to at least get one of the next couple. He'd ideally love to get this one, level it up. Nerves, pressure. It's a funny thing out there, and no one knows how they're feeling bar for the players. Very hard thing to explain.
Yeah, once again, because he didn't hit that pot at the desired space on the red, he's hit it too thick, and that's took the pace out of the cue ball. So instead of it being a shot to nothing, he's left this red on. Like White would have gone another 3 or 4 feet down the table, and now it's given Maguire an excellent chance to score heavily again.
And last night he did have a run of about 5 frames against Judd Trump. It was one chance snooker. He had half a sniff. It was end of frame. A bit like the last frame really. Nice break of 71.
9.
So he's continuing where he left off. He's looking very fresh here, and by all accounts, he didn't have the best of night's sleep last night. He done something I wish I could do. He went out for a run this morning, try and clear his head. And at the moment, it seems to be working. He's taking these very competently.
They decide to play this one a little bit more powerful. He could play into the bunch here and bring another couple of reds out and come out nicely for the black.
25.
Any trouble with playing that shot? He's played it nicely, but any trouble with playing that shot, sometimes you can get too much score on it and end up finishing tight on the cush. Now, if he's finished straight, he'll do well to get on the red. So when you go off the pack like that, sometimes the white springs right back and goes on the cushion. He's going to have to play this powerfully to get round for a red. Just off straight. Needs a bit of good luck here. And if he's on that red, it's excellent. Very, very good shot.
33.
Yes, he played this quite cleverly really, because there was a red just below the other one. So if he hadn't quite gone far enough, he'd have still had a shot at the bottom red. So he gave himself options then. But he is looking very good. So he should be really.
40.
This is the final. This is where you want to play your best stuff.
Yeah, so in a few moments' time, Stuart could find himself 2-0 behind. He's played one good pot and left himself snookered and didn't have another shot, and then he's played a shot to nothing and didn't get it. So he's really
41.
only played one bad shot, and he could be 2-0 behind. Obviously this red pots and it will open another red in after potting it, so it doesn't have to go into the pack just yet.
48. 49.
I think there's one more loose reds. And 7 reds, 7 blacks, that is, so far. It's amazing, we haven't really had a high break since the last 16 stage. There was 144 and a couple of 130 odds, I think, earlier on in the tournament. But since the quarter-final stage, I think the highest has been about 108. Been copious amounts of 60s and 70s, but usually these top players manage a few hundreds. Well, I can only presume
57.
he didn't realise he was on a maximum there, because there's no way if he realised he would have played that. That's how deep in concentration he is at the moment.
Yes, I wouldn't disperse that, will he? But I think Stephen Maguire has just got in his mind win the frame, and he'd have had to left himself really high on that black then. So I think he's trying to keep the pressure on, but he did have a great opportunity, didn't he? The reds are not brilliantly spaced, but just shows you what a good frame of mind he's in. He just wants to win the frame.
Nice angle to play into the pink. It's one of those where you don't have to go into them hard. I can only presume he must feel there's a plant on somewhere why he's not played it already. There wasn't a lot of aggression in that, was it? But he wanted to hit the pink full and he hit it half ball.
62.
This frame is not over yet. Yes, it was a poor shot on the blue.
62.
So Stuart Bingham is still in this frame. Albeit, I think he's covered the red with the blue. So he'll have to be playing a good safety shot.
I think he's got to be just about okay for the red that's closest to the corner pocket, but Stephen Maguire might be forced to play in the red that's in front of the pink. It is a big pocket. He'd love to pot it straight, but if not, use the cush, get the deflection off the red. Big shot this one though. Well, he got the cannon, but it didn't go in, and you felt that any connection there, and that red would have found his way into the pocket, but it wasn't to be.
Stuart's going to have to take this long one on now. 62 points behind. If it goes in, he can get right back into the frame. And where the balls are, if this does go in, he'll have every chance to win the frame at this visit. Hasn't really had an easy shot yet to play.
One. Seven.
yesterday. Steve Maguire found these shots easy into the green pocket. He could elect to play it in the right centre. He's one ball away from securing his second frame. But he rolled a couple of these in to the green pocket last night. I think he's electing. From an angle I can't really see. His head's blocking my view. But it'd be the green pocket if I had to bet. And in it goes. Oh, well played control shot that was.
Yes, he played it in such a way, didn't he, that it made it into a shot to nothing. But he hasn't played that particularly very well, but he's already passed the winning post in this frame.
14.
So Stuart yet to get off the mark, really, apart from that opening red in the opening frame. That's the only ball he's potted so far. He's had a couple of shots that shot to nothings, and he's missed them both. Just wants an easy chance just to get his cue arm going.
Stephen Maguire, 14.
Buying snookers, Maguire will be taking a 2-0 lead.
And the one thing Steve Maguire will be trying to do is to keep Bingham off the table, so I don't think he's going to give him any easy starter. As I'm saying that, he's queuing this long one up with a deep screw. And he didn't queue it very good. He hasn't left anything easy. But at the moment, Bingham hasn't settled. You don't want to give him an easy one to get his arm going and pot a couple of balls.
Yes, albeit he needs these two reds into play that are on the cushion, so he could play the pot here and bring those two reds into play, knowing that he's almost certain to be on the pink or the black. Decided just to roll it in and make sure of the cannon.
Seven.
Never easy out there. It's all about getting comfortable, getting in the zone. And at the moment, the chances for Stewart have been few and far between.
8.
He's stringing a couple together now. As each pot goes in, he'll feel a little stronger. Oh, he has got the perfect angle on these, on this red, to move these two reds. And he's electing to do it off the
15.
black. And I think he might have just gone a little bit high. Ideally, he'd love to leave one of them there, so in potting the other red with a black after this one, he could play the easy snooker, but I don't know whether he can get it to the edge of this. No. So there might have been benefit off that
22.
last red he potted in dislodging them.
Thank you. Stuart Bingham, 22.
So for Stuart Bingham, he's going to need 2 reds, 2 blacks, 3 snookers of 4 points value. It's not going to matter now. Maguire slotted that red in. And this has been the perfect start for Stephen Maguire.
Stephen Maguire, 1. And the frame.
So Stuart Bingham's conceded the frame, so with the help of a 62 break, Stephen Maguire keeps the train moving on, now leads 2 frames to 0.
Yeah, there's a couple of interesting shots being played there. I mean, Stuart Bingham had a couple of goes, and he had a go at a long red, which is obviously a red you'd expect him to get. And the fact that he hit it thick there, and the cue ball, instead of being very close to the green or brown, has pulled up short. And of course, when you hit them thick, you lose the pace of the cue ball. Left him an easy red.
That's correct, Willie. It should have been a shot to nothing, and instead of leaving Maguire nothing, he left him the easy red. And then obviously, then the second shot, all bar it, he hasn't had any real chances in the first 2 frames. But yesterday, he'd have knocked this red in, and again, he's missed it by quite a way. Left Stephen Maguire a nice easy red, which obviously went safe in the frame.
I think in fairness, because he hadn't had any table time, he'd have been a lot better off going all out and just rolling that in to come down for the black. I think he'd have got a lot closer to the pot, but he's just trying to make something happen at the time, and it hasn't happened for him so far. 71 and 62 from Stephen Maguire's controlling the match. It's almost getting to the time where, you know, I know it's the best of 17 over 2 sessions, but there's an interval after 4 frames. He needs to win at least one of these 2 frames before the interval. Very unlikely. If you go 4-0 behind, you can get back into the match. So Stuart Bingham breaking off 2-0 behind. And this is about the first time for quite some considerable time we haven't left a shot to nothing off the break-off. Okay, there's still a pot on, but not easy to get back into baulk.
He's eyeing up a little plant, but they're always, I mean, on your screens it won't look like a plant, but the way he was looking at these 2 reds, well, he's played a different one. He thought he might have got a cannon off the red just behind them 2 that would have changed the angle and pushed that red into the left corner. But it didn't go in, and this red has gone quite close, and he can play this in such a way that he wouldn't be leaving nothing on. You have to strike it well, mind.
He's going to try and play for the black as well, but he'd have to finish very low. He played it nicely. Had to finish low to be able to pot the black.
But there was value in that one, Willie. He couldn't really leave anything easy other than the red that he was playing, and if it had gone in, he did have a shot on this black, so... in total control so far, Mr. Maguire.
Clever shot that, making sure he covered the red that's nearest the baulk line, which would have been very easy to play safe off. So Stuart's got the same problem now. I don't know whether he's thinking of playing cushion first. Yes, he's trying to swerve around the yellow, and got to be careful he doesn't swerve too much, because the white could come up this end if he swerves it too much. That's a good shot, well played. Deserves a bit of luck there. May have looked like he was trying to cut that in, but he was just playing a safety shot. If he takes the pot on the red to the left of the blue, you can leave the white in the jaws of the middle pocket, and that would be okay. If it goes in it on the blue, if he doesn't, he's not leaving anything, but he's decided against it.
And again, perfectly played safety shot. Played that then with loads of right hand side. A little bit of drag. What a great shot.
Stuart's got to be very careful here in playing this cross double. He doesn't push a red right over the pocket. Yeah, played it slow enough not to do that. That's a good reply. Another foot of pace would have been perfect. It's going to be tough to get back to baulk. He's trying to swing the cue ball. You can see the red he's playing, the one just that looks like it's almost next to the black, but it's not. But he's trying to bring that back into baulk. That's an excellent safety shot. That was really tough. That was a tough shot to play. Very tough queuing over the brown, and he's going to be trying to hit one of these reds very thin. When you're queuing down on it, it's easier to push into the red, so you've got to be a little careful here. Could hit this too thick. But played it well, really well. Lucky. Now Stuart's got to play an attacking safety shot here and open these balls up, try and get in behind the yellow. No, got it the other way around. That's not too bad.
He'll settle for that. He's that much thicker than he'd have liked, but he hasn't left anything obviously to pot. You'd have to say he got away with that one a little bit. This will be good for Stuart Bingham, because there's a first frame now out of these opening three that he's got a little bit of table time. He's played some good safeties. This will be helping him to settle right down. As Willie said, very important that he gets at least one of these two frames. And again, very well played safety. Now Steve Maguire is looking to see if he can get through to the edge of the red. That's the left of the pink. And if he can, as long as he finds a gap, he can get back down. But I think this is very tight to get through to this, so we might see him just come off the side cushion and drop on to the red nearest the corner.
Foul and miss. Stuart Bingham 4.
Doesn't really want to have it replaced. He'd be hoping for some sort of pot on here. Yeah, but there's not, so I'm sure that Steve Maguire will play a better attempt this time.
Still.
I don't know whether anything pots in the middle. There's 4 reds in a line there. Maybe this second one from the left, that may pot past the pink in the middle. If it does, he'll take it on. Yeah, it just about does, I think. So playing for the blue or the pink. Yeah, some bit unlucky there, Maguire. He had the double kiss on the red, which sprung the white 3 or 4 inches off the top cushion, which left that shot on. If it had just rested on that red, it wouldn't have been on.
When you think he's been kept off the table and he hasn't really potted many balls. That was a great shot to the right centre. Cued it positively. That wasn't quite as good. Well, I just can't believe he potted that red in the right centre and then to miss that blue. That's unforgivable.
1.
Going to have to work on the pink ball for the next 5 or 6 reds, but that'll give him a sizable lead in this frame. That was a clever shot as well. He's a little unlucky there. He had to move the red away from the pink spot. He did that. Unfortunately, he caught it just a fraction too thin. Played a slightly thicker kiss.
7.
It's a bit fortunate really to have left the red on. You can see this little kiss here, and there's a gap look in between these reds to get to one in the corner.
Ten.
A lot of power here to get the pink or bought colour.
11.
Got a lovely cue action as Steve Maguire gets through the ball really well, and has been mentioned a few times in either the commentary or in the studio that he used to practice an awful lot with Stephen Hendry. So he sees the shots, the right shots to play. Whenever you practice with a really great player, you can watch what they do and see how they compile breaks. It was really good practice to do that.
Yes, the only thing I would say against that, Stephen wasn't blessed with the most power in the world. I think he'd be first to agree with that. He was an unbelievable player, break builder, probably best player we've ever seen. But he'd be first one to agree that in the power department, it wasn't his strongest point. But the last couple of shots of Stephen Maguire with the deep screws, that did require power, and he played them very well.
Could really do with that pink back in play here, because it's going to be so tough to get any sort of break. Just using one of the bought colours is virtually impossible.
14.
Played for the pink. Has he got the gap? He hasn't. So is it worth the risky blue? Because he needs a big colour in play.
Stephen Maguire, 14. Fault admits Stephen Maguire 4.
Yeah.
least Stuart knows he can't leave a red on as long as he doesn't drift by this red that he's playing off 2 cushions. Looks pretty good this time, I think. A little bit of noise in the crowd, I think. I don't know what's happening, but that's a good shot.
He's got another tempter. He's got to go for it to this right corner. He's had a couple similar to this and he's missed. And he was a long way off there again. And that's a strong point of his game. Stuart Bingham knocks the long uns in and just scores for fun, but it's just not quite happening at the moment. He got a good cue ball. So that's the positive that he'll have to take out of that shot, but he'll be a bit disappointed he missed the red by so far.
That's the first poor safety shot that Stephen Maguire's played, and a little bang on the table shows his frustration how poorly he played that. His expression tells you the same as well. Now Stuart, these are the ones, as Darren was just saying, you've been knocking in all week. You've got to start knocking them in now. Needs the kiss on the yellow really, because if he finishes straight on the blue he can't get on a red. Oh, he has that angle on this, but the pace he's going to have to play it makes it missable, this blue. I think he might just be playing in behind the blue. And this is just about unhittable. He's going to have to play the jaws of the pocket and try and come up. You know, you can't hit it. It's impossible to hit a red from here. Don't look at us for the line, the line on the screen, Stephen. We're not going to put one up for this one. He's got to go into the jaws of the left-hand pocket and hope he comes up and hits the red on the left-hand side. My colleague Darren's just putting a line up the shot we're suggesting here, and that's about the only way he can do it, by hitting the white into the jaws and hopefully coming up and hitting that red there. But it's one of those where you're just going to have to hit and hope. You've got no idea where the white's going to come off at. But can he see the jaws? Is it virtually touching the blue? We could be here for a while. If he goes off the jaws this way around, the way he's looking at now, I can't see how he can hit a red. White might jump off the table. Well, he has hit a red. Has he got away with it? You're kidding. You're kidding. Just enough room for this red to pass. It's amazing how that white came off at that angle. Usually they stick to the cushion and come down the other side. So Stuart Bingham's excellent snooker on the blue could have forced the opening and a chance to get his frame on the board that he needs very quickly. Usually when you play off the jaws like that, they come a lot further right than that, but it was an excellent shot, wasn't it? Could have cost him the frame, though. Stuart would love to move the red away from the black spot, but I don't know why he's that worried, because it's going to go on the pink spot anyway. He probably feels it's going on its own spot. I don't know what he's played there. Oh, this is clever. I didn't realise the black went on quite easy and he's moving the red away, so that's an excellent shot he just played there. Now I've got the black available in both pockets.
9.
Well played.
You do feel that
16.
Stuart's going to have to make this effort pay.
17.
Obviously he's got 4 reds out in the open. 2 on the cushions. Maybe starting to feel a little bit better now. He's starting to pick the pace up around the table as well.
24.
Yes, his pot success rate was down at 75% because he'd missed so many balls early on. And of course, in any standard of snooker in professional level, you can't win a match without at least an 88% pot success rate. So it's really important to win the frame at this visit.
Yep. 32.
Not happy with the contact he got there. He's 20 points in front. So 3 reds, 3 blacks. We'll put him 44 points in front. And of course there's only 2 reds left, so that's going to be his aim. 3 reds, 3 blacks.
33.
Missed a couple of these yesterday. Not today though. He'll be quite pleased when he realises that if he gets 2 reds, 2 blacks, he'll be 44 in front with 43 on. It's amazing how we talked about this yesterday. When you're under pressure, you just can't add up. When you're not under pressure, it's quite straightforward.
$41.
Yes, well played.
$48. 49. $56.
Very, very good break. Could play this with a little bit of confidence, albeit if it doesn't go in, Stephen Maguire will come back to the table. So he has missed it. But excellent break of 56. And buying snooker's Stuart Bingham will have a frame on the board.
One.
Can play this either way. He can play the white behind one of the baulk colours or the white behind the black. Depends which way he feels he can get the red safe. I suppose really getting the white behind the black and trying to get the red somewhere near a colour to make it more difficult to hit would be his better choice.
I actually think that he wanted that cue ball to go a little bit to play the double. I think he's on it. Not correct. Hence that's why he's had to play the safety.
Stephen Maguire.
But I do feel, well, he wanted that cue ball up the table a little bit. He's going to play the double, try and get the black, and then slip in off the yellow or the green for his snooker. He had to change his plans.
That's an excellent safety shot. The key when your opponent needs snooker is try and get that cue ball as close to the cushion as possible, so it means that he can't impart any side on that. Normally when you're playing to get a snooker, you need to be making the white move around a little bit. It's tough to get side on when you're near the cushion. So one good pot from Stuart Bingham, and it'll be under frame.
Bingham, 1.
Well played, Stuart Bingham. Steve Maguire looks at the scoreboard, decides he's had enough, and so largely due to that 56 break, Bingham has got a frame on the board, but still trails 2-1.
Well, what a great frame of snooker that was. It had pretty much everything, Dominic, and I suppose you could call it the battle of the blue, really. You had Stuart Bingham there. He'd only potted 8 balls in the match so far, missed that blue to the centre pocket, and then played a fantastic snooker.
Yes, he did. Steve Maguire hadn't played the best safety shot. Stuart potted along red and left himself in a position to leave the cue ball here. And as Willie said in commentary, all you can do is rebound the cue ball from the jaws of the pocket and literally hope that you hit a ball and get it safe. You can play it with all kinds of different spins so you get a different angle off the jaws, but you really don't know where it's going to finish, really. Yeah,
during that match I said to you, do you find yourself sometimes in that position where you are looking at just a hit and hope?
Yeah, I've only ever played a couple of those in my whole career, really. But, you know, in a position like that, there's no way you can actually judge a particular shot to play. So you just force a hit and hope, play it with enough power. It's an interesting thing. I mean, that couldn't be deemed an impossible snooker. But if you are in an impossible snooker where you can't get out from balls, you have to just play in the direction of the ball on, in this case reds, with enough power to hit them and just play through the colour, in this case the blue. To actually play a fair shot, but of course it would be a foul.
Well, it was an escape route out, but however, it left the red on. What did you make of Stuart Bingham after that?
Very good, very composed, a very impressive break, because as you said, Jason, he hadn't potted many balls up till then. He'd missed a couple of easy ones in that frame, so I'm sure when he left himself a couple of blacks on the spot where the cue ball's a little bit near the cushion, he might have been worried about missing them, but he managed to pot them, kept his composure and made a frame-winning break from it.
And there is plenty of work for Bingham to do because, as I said at the introduction there, he missed that blue to the centre pocket. You'd expect him in this situation, given how well he's been playing, to get that.
Especially as, you know, the way the colours were, it wasn't necessarily going to be a frame-winning opportunity for his opponent, Steve Maguire, had he missed it, and he did miss it.
But he'd only potted 8 balls up to this point. So just, you were talking in the previous frame about him settling down, just needing to maybe build up a nice break, just find his rhythm, but you'd expect him to pot that.
The reds were sort of all in one another's way there, so he must have had you know, most of his mind was concentrating on the position aspect of that shot, I'm sure, and that can cause you to miss any pot.
Thank you, Dominic. Back to Willie and Darren.
So, big frame, both players. Bingham will be looking if he can take this one, go into mid-session interval at 2 each. There'll be no damage done with them first couple of frames, and Maguire on the other hand, he'll be upset if he doesn't take it to go into the mid-session interval with his 3-1 lead. So it's a long pot attempt. That was close. It was a lot closer than he's been getting them.
It's an excellent try, wasn't it? And I totally agree with you. I mean, I'm sure a few moments ago Steve Maguire would have thought he was going to be favourite to go 3-0 in front, and he's done all the work in this match so far. As you rightly say, Stuart Bingham will feel he's won the first session if he gets out of 2 each. It's a little bit careless. That red might not pass the middle. Well, it just has. Is there a straight pot on though? Because we'll take it on if it is. This obviously is potable. Let's come round to have a look at what he's going to leave if he misses it. Just about see enough of it, can't it? It's very tight. Probably just done it in for the blue. A bit risky to come down for the black because of the red on the back cushion. They're starting to play. This is what he has been doing all week. Unfortunately, he's finished absolutely dead straight, which means it's almost impossible to get on a red from the blue. That's why he's looking at the green. There you can see, absolutely couldn't be any straighter. There's plenty of mileage in the green, though, to come down this side of the table for the red that's on the right-hand side. And, of course, he can get onto the black, so big shot, this. Play for the one on the back cushion. If it misses the kiss, it's okay, as long as he's not straight. Doesn't want to be straight.
Five.
It's fine on the black, but the right hand of the two reds directly above the black. He'd like to stun into that. If he screws into it, it's not going to get on one. Just flicked it. We needed a thicker kiss than that. He's upset with that shot.
12.
I think for certain when he gets in, he don't hang about. Stuart Bingham. He's quite exciting to watch in full flow.
Stuart Bingham, 12.
Well, the way he's played that, the only ball he could leave, really, was the one he was playing. Played it positively. Well, we have seen over the last week, these pockets, especially this pocket, it has taken him in off the cushion, and it's looked a little bit large, but at that pace, no chance.
Excellent pace of cue ball. So Stuart's got to have to try and cover that red that you can see is covered for him at the moment. As thin as you like off the pack and try and get the white virtually in the same place. That would be his intention.
It's okay. It looked the way he's playing it was a little bit of a risky one to get the double hit with the cue ball, but it was well played.
It's quite a clever shot, isn't it? 'Cause ideally, the only safe place is to get the cue ball yellow side of the table, which covers both these reds, but he can't really get there. He's going to have to cover it up with, possibly with the brown. Oh, that's a poor shot.
That showed quite a few emotions and animations, Stephen Maguire. Well, it's just, he didn't cue that one very well at all. He was slightly off straight, and he's cued it dead straight. As you can see, it's just off straight. Just didn't make the allowance.
Having a close look to see whether this red will pass the pink in the middle. It doesn't look from our commentary position that it would, but You can just about see the top jaw. He may be playing the double. Very unlike professionals to play doubles unless you can't leave anything on, and he feels that it's probably worth the risk. And worth the risk it was. Well played.
Hasn't worked out too bad. He's dislodged a couple. He is going to have to play one more good pot. He's got the one to left centre. He'd be digging down to come down for the black. Or this one down the right corner. This will be his more preferred choice because he can get his hand on the table and be quite comfortable. It's a little bit more of a difficult a pot. And he has got one in the middle of the pack. He can run through.
Can only presume he feels that he's going to get close to kissing the pack or the black in this run through. Doesn't really want to make contact with any ball here. He sneak it around the back of the black. Well, he's played it slow enough to get a hold for the black, so that's a good shot. He'll be disappointed now if he doesn't score plenty. As we already discussed, he'll be a little horrified if he doesn't go 3-1 in front. The way he's played, he's dominated the first 4 frames, really.
16. 17.
Well, he got into that one, and I think he had a little bit of a bounce off the cushion as well. He looks like he's in total shock. I don't think it had too much of a bounce off the cushion. I just think he cued it just a little bit too good. And again, he's reluctant with that red to the left centre, but I think that is the right shot. He can elect just to come off the one cushion for the black or the two. Come behind, play it a little bit more positively. Selected the two.
25.
He's played that very well.
Yes, he was trying to keep that red there for a saviour, and just in case he played a poor positional shot.
32.
He may have got second prize here. 1-2 down from the pink is possibly potable in the middle. He didn't play for that red. And this will open the game up because you can just stun through the gap of those 4 reds and get onto the black. They've been a bit fortunate there with that shot. He didn't play it. It wasn't played like that.
33.
Yes, already he's looking at if he can get on it, and it does go, he will open everything up. Because that cluster of 5 or 6 behind the pink, well, you can see it's going to be very tight. Nothing really goes. But he has still got 2 out in the open.
They're lovely to go into though, down, aren't they, if he gets a nice angle on the black. I mean, virtually any kiss on any one of those 5 reds just above the black is going to leave another red on.
41.
And ideally, he'd like to kiss the left down one of the 3 full ball and just push the white through that. And He'll have 2 in the middle and 2 in the corner. That's the one he's played, that's the one he's got, should be end of frame.
48. $49.
Been a good standard, I know it's been a little pedestrian, but we've had breaks of 50 or above after this black goes in every frame. So we knew it was going to be all about break building, and we felt that whoever was going to score the heaviest
56.
over the 2 sessions would win. I mean, normally you can have a few scrappy frames where the best safety player would win, but this is not one of those matches. It's all about break building, this match.
57.
Yes, Wells, and I mean, Stu Bingham starting his share. He went for a long red that he probably would have expected to have potted, but he thought, well, if I miss this, that's the only thing I can leave on is this. Maguire's pulled a terrific double out of the bag.
60.
And he's won the frame from it.
Yes, this was the red you were talking about, Darren, and he felt it was a shot to nothing, and the double is the one just above the black, you can see, and you would have thought that's safe from there, but the double went in, and 65 and counting.
65.
And the crowd have miscounted there, they thought that was frame ball, but this is frame ball.
66.
So this frame now is well past the point of no return for Bingham, and there's the double.
73.
He could play that again 10 times, it wouldn't go in again.
74.
But you've got to make your little slices of luck count. And even though doubles are played, you'd have to say they're a little bit lucky when they go in. This has been top draw.
81.
And already had 2 centuries this tournament. Could we see a third?
82.
Maguire. He's had a lot of 50, 60, 70 sort of breaks around that area. Like I said in his match yesterday, he had 5 frames on the trot where he scored a frame winning break. Already today, he's had runs of 71, 62, 89 and counting. So when he gets in, he's scoring, which is ominous for your opponent when you know you're going to give him a chance. He's doing it in 1 hit.
94.
He's winning the frames in 1 go.
96.
Perfect angle on the green to get nicely on the brown, which will be the ball he needs to make the century.
99.
And all off a double, as we've said on a couple of occasions. Very unusual. But well played.
108.
Yes, I think on reflection it's been a fair result, these first 4 frames. I think Stuart Bingham will be a little bit more upset with himself than Stephen Maguire. Stephen Maguire is going to enjoy his mid-session interval. Double didn't go in. Stuart Bingham's got a lot to think about. So it's Stephen Maguire leads 3 frames to 1.
So Maguire has the momentum, and he's now made 3 century breaks in this tournament and 13 50-plus breaks. And Darren said in commentary there, it's very difficult when you're 3-1 down and your man is scoring.
Yes, I think Stuart Bingham now will be glad of the interval. He can assess what's gone on in those first 4 frames and try to come out with a plan of attack for the remainder of this afternoon session.
He's playing very well, isn't he, Steve Maguire?
He is. He's made breaks of 71, 62 and that 120 odd or whatever it was.
114.
140. Mr. Black didn't he, the double, yeah. I mean, it's a great performance from him. He'll be very, very happy. He doesn't have to do anything, whereas Stuart Bingham, well, who knows, you might see him out here on the practice tables for 10 minutes.
Yeah, we'll let you know if he comes out. You picked out one shot from that frame, didn't you?
Yeah, Stephen was in control of this frame. He was on a break. He just had a very fast bounce with the cue ball and left him in this position. And his problem here, he's got to kill the pace of the cue ball, but not too much. Well. Just, you know, guide it for around the back of the black spot for position on the black. And
that's what impressed you most?
Perfectly controlled, a difficult shot to play. Get too much stun on that, you'll come off the cushion and cannon the black. Not enough, the whites will be just running free and he'll end up on the side cushion.
And also looking at the stats for the pot success, Stuart is on 76% and Steve Maguire's on 92% right now.
Yeah, 92 is very high. When you consider the number of balls that Stephen's potted so far, as I say, he's made 71, 62 and 114. I mean, you pot in a lot of balls, and Stephen has done so far in these first 4 frames. And, you know, to have that sort of degree of pot success rate is very, very impressive for me.
What's it like when you're 3-1 down, you're going into the interval? What do you say to yourself?
Well, you know, it's a position that every player is accustomed to. I mean, you're not going to win every match you play very easily. You're always going to have to, you know, face some adversity somewhere. And, well, right now, Stuart's facing that adversity. He's 3-1 behind. He'll just have a cup of tea and think, well, I'm maybe not feeling as comfortable as I should be out there. You know, I'm missing the odd pot. What have I got to do? And I think, well, just need to relax a bit. Because for me, I mean, Stephen seems so comfortable out there. He's playing, you know, the situation. He's playing a snooker match. He's playing a world ranking event final.
It seems effortless.
Yeah, Stuart Bingham for me just seems there's a bit of trepidancy in his performance out there for me, and he's just playing maybe 10% of the occasion and not quite sort of relaxing and playing snooker. He's just a little bit wary of the occasion and what it means to him, I think. OK, Dominic, for the moment, thank you very much indeed. Well, there are big changes ahead in snooker. The chairman of World Snooker, Barry Hearn, from next year plans all 128 players on the tour to start 8 of them, 8 tournaments at the first round, and it's an issue which is dividing the sport.
We're on our way to the promised land. Even when the Red Sea parted, you still had to walk through the waves.
I think that's a nonsense, if I'm being perfectly honest with you.
The game is in the hands of people that know what they're doing. It's not in the hands of the players anymore.
Barry Hearn's going to do exactly what he wants to do because he owns the game, so all us players haven't really got an opinion anymore.
This is a game that's being led from the front, not from the back.
I'm very much old school. I don't think you need to paint a moustache on the Mona Lisa.
Whether they like it or not, they're going to be taken to the promised land because Moses is driving the flock forward at ever-increasing speed.
Snooker's Pied Piper Barry Hearn has revolution on his mind. From next season and the majority of tournaments on the calendar, the first round of each event will feature all 128 players.
This represents a massive change in terms of the protectionism that's in snooker, where the top 16 have seeded through to effectively the last 32 in most competitions. It's a huge advantage, but we're making major strides to give equal opportunity to all players, whether you're a first-year rookie or a 5 times world champion. Every player will always look at a situation and ask one question: how does this affect me? My job is to say, what's best for the game?
I've worked hard for the last 7 years to get to number 8 in the world, or number 7, whatever it may be. It seems like you're just going to be back to square one. It's a step backwards in my opinion.
I'd prefer it to stay as it is because for me it's better for me. I understand it might be fair for everyone else, but I'm not everyone else, I'm me, and I'm in the top 16, so I'd like it to stay as it is.
If you were inventing a new sport and you were saying this is the fairest way, I understand that because you're going from zero, but there's a lot of people who have worked hard, put lots of hours in over the last 10, 15, 20 years even for some people, to get where they are now, and that seems to be taken away from them very quickly.
For those outside the top 16, this decision could be life-changing. At the moment, players like world number 42, Jack Lisowski, can only dream of playing at major tournaments.
It's like I've got to win a tournament just to get to a tournament. I've already got to win 2 games just to get there. So, I don't know, you feel like a bit of an outsider. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of different faces at venues, which I think is what Barry wants, and I hope there is. I like seeing new players.
One new face, Pankaj Advani, became the first Indian to reach the quarterfinals of a ranking event this week. Next season, as the new proposals take effect, more young players are likely to make that breakthrough.
you're obviously going to get a mixed reaction. You're obviously going to get people who are for it, people who are against it. But as I said, at the end of the day, if you want to make the game more open, you want to see more new faces, you want to see Asian faces, you want to see Australians, you want to see Europeans fall, you know, coming into the top ranks, then this is the best move. Everyone obviously wants to see the top stars in action, but at some stage you've got to say, okay, fine, let's make the game more open. Let's have an open field, like in tennis, when all the 128 players in a Grand Slam start from round 1, and there's no seeding given to the top 8 or the top 16 players. So I think it's just a great move for the game, and it also keeps the top 16 on their toes, because they know that they've got to earn their place now in the rankings.
There are 11 major events, ranking events. Of those, 8 next season will be on the 128 basis, and 3 will be on the old basis because the sponsors and the broadcasters didn't want to change their contract. We acknowledge that. When that contract comes up for renewal, it will be changed and they won't be given the choice. But coming back to the 128 draw, there's a risk element here. The risk is losing household names before the tournament takes place in some far-flung country where the broadcaster doesn't see 1, 2, 3 or more of the top names.
If I was a sponsor, I probably wouldn't be too pleased, you know. A sponsor wants to see the best players in the world, so he wants to know that they guaranteed being there at the televised stages, and he's going to get real value for his money. That's not to take anything away from the rest of the players, because obviously now the game is very, very strong.
The move to 128 has received universal acclaim from everybody in the world, all our broadcast partners, because we're suddenly being looked upon as a real game. Not a boys' club, not a little group of players sharing out, divvying up the money.
However, for some of the world's best players, the decision is not all about money. There's a genuine concern that the first round of the tournament could be played amongst a rabbit warren of cubicles, far away from the paying public and the television cameras.
I don't particularly want to be playing in front of 5 people again. That was the reason I practiced so hard to get out of that and get through it. So it'd be disappointed if that did happen, but hopefully everyone will be back at the venues.
The top players, they'll find it hard going back to that, you know, and you're going to see a lot of shocks. The players that have only experienced the TV stages once or twice, they don't really know too much better. So that's like playing their own backyard. They've got the home advantage. Whereas the top players, it's like coming backwards for them. But, you know, this is the way it's going. They've got to do it, whether they like it or not.
There is, however, a considerable level of support for the proposals amongst a number of the top 16 players.
If I can't come through like the 128 scenario, flat system where I might be playing someone ranked outside the top 64 first, I don't deserve to win tournaments.
From a top player's point of view, if you keep winning in that, then you'll be fine and you'll win the prize money. And the idea is that if we progress to the last 32s, last 16s, then we'll be on guaranteed more money than what we were in the first place. So if you're a top player and you progress and you get far in tournaments, then you'll be rewarded.
This for me is the landmark decision that should have been taken years and years ago. For the first time ever in snooker, the top players, once this system is introduced, will be able to look everyone in the eye and say they are the top players because they've had to beat everybody else.
Unsurprisingly, he had the first word and he'll have the last. Barry Hearn.
We're either going to be a boys' club for a few chosen players, or we're going to be a global sport open to everyone to participate, built solely on ability. And I won't be moved on this. It's a great thing about ownership. I won't be moved. I'm going to listen to everybody. I'm going to take into account everyone's opinions, and then I'm going to do what's right for the game.
Barry Hearn will not be moved on this issue, and it really is causing division in the sport. So let's get the thoughts of Dominic Dale then, whilst the players in the final are on interval. Dominic, what are your feelings on Barry Hearn's plans, the 128 plans?
Yeah, I mean, this whole issue has really raised a few hackles, hasn't it? I love Barry Hearn, he's my sort of guy, you know. But listen, we have had it good for decades, really, ever since I turned professional in 1992. Listen, I mean, if everybody is in the first round, all 128 players, I beg your pardon, on the tour are in round 1, surely it's got to be fair. I've got no, you know, I'm absolutely...
You've got no problem with it?
No problem at all, and I'm fine with it. But...
Oh, there's a but.
Well, I understand that it could be possible that the players on the tour, that's the top 16, the world number 1, may not be eligible for prize money in round 1. You might have to win a round in every event to be on prize money. That's something I don't agree with, because basically if you've got the games elite, the world number 1, world number 16, guaranteed no prize money, does it devalue the sport? Does it deface the sport? Does the sport lose credibility? Possibly. But, you know, the issue of everybody starting round 1, I'm in favour of it.
Because John Higgins made a very good point there, didn't he? He said, look, this is openness. And quite frankly, if I can't beat, say, for example, John Higgins is 6th in the world. If I can't beat somebody who's ranked 104th in the world, then I don't deserve to be in the latter stages of a tournament.
Absolutely, precisely. I can completely concur with what John's been saying there. I understand it from speaking to Jason Ferguson in Berlin. What's likely to happen is the top 64 in the world will be sort of seeded in round 1, and the bottom 64 players on the tour will be drawn at random to play the top 64. That's something else that I believe will happen. But as regards the prize money structure, the ranking point system structure that could be in operation in a year or 2 from now, that's all sort of yet to be finalised and discussed with players, because actually what I do believe to be the case, the players actually own the ranking system. So if Barry wants a certain ranking system to work in conjunction with this flat 1-2-8 round structure system, that could meet with some opposition, and I do believe the players have the controlling interest in the ranking system.
But also, Dominic, what was significant was listening to Barry Hearn saying there that when this goes through, and it's going to go through, isn't it, because he's going to have the final say, and he was very clear and ending that item there. When this goes through, there may be a position where the sponsors and the broadcasters are saying, hang on, we're paying big money, we're signing big checks here, and we're not seeing Judd Trump, we're not seeing Mark Selby, we're not seeing John Higgins, we're not seeing Dominic Dale on our TV screens. This is not good enough. There's a possibility they may pull the plug.
Well, I mean, I'm sure World Snooker have already had discussions with broadcasters and with potential sponsors for ranking events and so on and so forth. And I mean, I'm sure that's been discussed, and basically World Snooker have obviously put their ideas to them, and they must be okay with it, because I mean, it really does seem as though this is going to go ahead. And I don't think there's anything the players can do about it. So I don't think that's going to be a problem, to be honest with you. And it is fair, you're going to have a different top 16, but that's going to change.
OK, let's take a look then at the rankings which will be published tomorrow following the Welsh Open. And the significant change is that Mark Selby has been deposed as the number 1 in the world by Judd Trump, who was knocked out in the semi-final last night by Stephen Maguire. Whatever happens today, Stuart Bingham will move from 10th in the world up to 7th. And then you've got Stephen Maguire, who is currently 3-1 up in the final. He will stay in 6th place no matter what. And the Welsh interest, well, you can see Matthew Stevens there on 13, and Mark Williams is down 3 places from 7 to 10. What do you make of that list very quickly?
Yeah, very interesting. But I mean, obviously with the flat 1-2-8 system next year, the rankings, the top end of the rankings don't matter so much at the moment. But if you're ranked between sort of on the borders of the top 64, you want to be in the 64 because you'll be a seeded player next season.
Thank you, Dominic. Well, no doubt this week you have spotted Zhu Ying, the Chinese referee, who's been doing a magnificent job here at the Newport Centre at the Bet Victor Welsh Open. Well, today is a very big day for her. She's reffing her first major final. We've been speaking to the ref, also known as Ivy.
When I was 17 years old, one day I watched the TV and I watched a snooker game on TV, and that was my first time to know about snooker. I don't know why. I just loved the screen, green table, colored ball, and just to stop and watch all the matches. That's the start of snooker for me. At first, I just, I'm interested in snooker. I want to play it, but there was a chance to be a snooker referee. I think, yeah, maybe I think it's interesting, so just start to do it. About 2005, Ding Junhui won his first title in Beijing China Open. From that time, snooker became more and more popular in China. So I have more chance to referee. So I left my job and I choose the referee as my full-time job.
It is difficult to make the transformation from the qualifiers into a main TV event. There's different positioning around the table, and there are a bit more pressures, and because the TV lights are so warm, it does affect you overall. But yeah, she's progressing very nicely.
It's nice to have more women coming through and reffing, and she seems to love the game, and she's good at her job, so that's the main thing.
Sort of got herself familiar with the surroundings now and the big stage, and I think in the future years she will be one of the top refs.
You know straight away with somebody whether they've actually got it or not, and to be fair, you've got to have it to be a ref. You've got to be switched on and be aware of what's going on, and able to adapt, and she's very good at that, which is fantastic for us because we actually need somebody who can go to the top of the game in China, because there's so many other refs that need to be trained, and obviously she's got the language to be able to do that. So it's fantastic. She's a really, really lovely girl, and she's doing a really, really good job.
In my first match in Crucible, I referee Stephen Hendry's 147. Actually, it's my first 147, and it's the last one in his career.
Can he just hold it together for 2 shots?
I just check the scoreboard every time, and before I pronounce the score, I can't imagine if I pronounce the wrong score. "12 months ago, I refereed the match here the first time, and 12 months later, I'm going to referee the final here. Now I just looking for it very much, feel excited. I hope it's good for a referee to feel excited.
Yeah, she has been magnificent this week. She's done a fantastic job, and when I've been down there backstage before the players have been coming out, she looks remarkably cool. As cool as a cucumber. She's absolutely fantastic. Brilliant stuff. So we've had a reshuffle in the commentary box. Darren Morgan and Willie Thorne have gone for a lie down. Well deserved, I may add. And we're now into the second session of the final.
Thank you,
Stephen Maguire leads Stuart Bingham by 3 frames to 1. Let's join our commentary team of Terry Griffiths and Dominic Dale.
Thank you, Jason. Let's see, Ian looks the calmest person in the house. Bingham isn't too calm at the moment though, after the first session. He's been hit about a bit by some big scoring from Steve Maguire. Hasn't quite been on it yet, but there's plenty of time for him. 2 sessions, of course, split 8 this afternoon, 9 this evening, if needed.
Well, this is a position that Stuart's been in quite a lot so far in this final. Faced with a tricky safety, with reds all over the table. Oh, very, very well played indeed. That could so easily have gone wrong. And he's put Steve Maguire in a similar position.
Well, Steve Maguire, you can see the red that's closest to the pocket, but looks a very thin cut, the right pocket there. Well, he's looking for the straighter pot by the look of it.
Looks pretty dangerous from here. Oh, he hit it well. Got very close to it, but as he left it on, there's a chance. Awkward shot for Stuart Bingham to get started with, though. If the black was available or pink, it wouldn't be such a bad shot, but I think he's going to try and hold for the blue. Big ask.
Yeah, it's a horrible shot really, Terry, because I don't think he can hit the right side of the red to play a safety from it, and I don't suppose he can leave it there. So I think he's going to have to try the pot, even if the blue is the only colour he can play for. So you're right, digging down here.
As good as he could have done, excellent shot. And of course, after his little break, he'd be looking to change the pattern of things. Always been a very aggressive player. He can play the safety game like most of the top players, but it's not his strength.
6.
He didn't look too happy where he stopped there. And you can see why. I'm not sure if that red goes through those two. It's very tight. And the red into the centre again is taking him away from the blue ball and the ball colours that's available. Could take a chance, of course, and try and bring the pink into play. Needed a few easy shots here to get going. Well, he's looking now if he can cannon into the red and black and put that on. Be very ambitious.
7.
Well, it's a pretty good attempt. Long blue now if he wants to keep things going.
Bingham 7.
You'd fancy him to get that if he's in full flow, but he isn't as yet. It's not a great chance for Steve Maguire either. The red's available, but blue, pink and black are tied up. Maybe we'll sneak that blue in if he gets this red. Think that pink goes in the middle, Dominic?
I do, but I think he might have to be low on it to be able to make the potting angle. Oh, he'll be livid that he's missed the red. Because that was a good chance for Steve Maguire. He's holding position for the blue there. But look at this, a dead straight red. Don't know why he missed it, because he had to do nothing with the cue ball. It's just one of those things, just cued across it. We're not all machines.
One.
Get his arm going out there now.
3.
Again, he'd be looking to get pink and black into play as soon as possible. Change of circumstances now, Dominic, isn't there? That one player's like trying to protect his league and another one's hoping to stay in the match. Different mindset.
Yeah, absolutely, Terry. You've got a 3-1 lead, you're trying to forge on, but I don't know, sometimes you have a different mindset. You try to maybe not take undue risks because you know your opponent's in trouble and you don't want to give him easy chances. But I think in any sport, you've got a lead, it's best to just keep playing the way that got you there in the first place.
9.
Could bring the black into play here. Perfect angle. Perfect shot. Very well played.
$17. 18.
Certainly seems to have upped his tempo, Stuart Bingham. Bounding along. Look at that, he's just got round there in about 4 paces.
25.
And this is the chance that Stuart... Well, he's largely created it by removing that tricky red that was blocking the black. And he'd be disappointed now to not reduce his arrears to a single frame. Oh, goodness me, that black nearly wobbled and stayed out. Let's have a look at this.
33.
Ooh.
$34.
He's just got too much angle on the blue here, Stuart, so he'll probably try to cannon something to hold for a red. Yeah, just had a perfect angle there to make that 4-ball kiss.
39. $40.
Well, he's shown us a few times in this championship so far that he can face up to adversity and come through it.
48.
And it was crucial that he got started here after that mid-session interval and is making a very good job of this. Very quick play, as Dominic mentioned, when he gets in the balls.
$55.
Steve Maguire sitting out after missing that red into the right corner.
$56.
I thought he was stretching a bit on that red myself when he missed it, but still. It's irrelevant now anyway. Giving him 70 points in front. 59 left on the table.
64.
Could have another century
71.
break here. Of course, Steve Maguire made 114 in the 4th frame. Crowd always enjoy the 100 breaks.
72.
It's his best so far at this final. Oh, well. Well, the red stayed out, but Stuart Bingham be very pleased with that 79. He pulls the frame back, but still trailed by 3 frames to 2.
Stuart's now sort of established himself as one of the real sort of top 16 players in the game now, and you know, obviously he'll be looking to push on and win more tournaments as well.
A very solid all-round player. He's pretty good in all departments. One thing Stuart does well, he's a great long potter and he's a very big break maker.
I just came totally out of the blue and won in Australia, which was fantastic, because I think Stuart's been pro for a good few years now, and everybody in the tour knew, you know, how good he was.
It's obviously helped his career when he won in Australia. It's probably gave him a bit more belief, and he'll believe in himself more. But we all knew he was a really, really good player, so he's a danger now.
Stuart finally made his breakthrough into the top 16. You know, he's been hovering around like the 18 to 22 mark, you know, for a long time, and you know, it was well deserved after winning Australia.
He's always been a good scorer, Stuart. He scores heavy, and his game's improved as well over the last couple of years, and he's got into that 16. Looks very comfortable there as well, which everyone I think knew he would be comfortable when he got there. So yeah, good player.
Oh, very interesting feature there. I know a lot more about Stuart Bingham than I did before. Steve Maguire breaking off at frame 6. He's very keen to establish that 2-frame lead that he took into the interval. Once again, that red keeps going down alongside the black from the break-off shot. There you go. Nearly every time these players have been breaking off this week, a red has gone down there and blocked the black into both pockets.
Played that well. He made sure he covered the red on the right-hand side. Was the only one available. Doesn't really put Stuart Bingham under a lot of pressure though, with his safety shot. Slightly underhit that. I think he got the right angle. There is one red available, but Stuart won't be too happy with that safety. He's only just past the balk line. Let's see what Maguire is looking at here. There's a red, I think, too, away from behind the pink there on the left. May be available into the right corner. Good attempt, and of course safety in mind as well.
That was a lovely little cannon to the yellow with the cue ball from Stephen there, because now the brown, blue and pink are blocking the left-hand side of the table for Stuart, and playing a safety shot using the right half of the table is very, very treacherous with all those loose reds there. It may compel him to have a go at a difficult long red here, because unfortunately for Stuart, he can't leave the cue ball here on the top cushion either, because there's a red near the right corner and one towards the left corner, just below the black. So he's in a spot of bother here.
That's very well played. No room for error at all there. Got it thick or thin, you'd have left the red on. In the opposite corner with the pink available in the middle. Now then, Stephen Maguire can get through to the one available into the left centre. Bit tricky. Doesn't fancy that one. Too thin a cut possibly to control the cue ball, so he's playing tight. Perhaps in the back of his mind he doesn't want to leave Stuart Bingham an easy chance at this stage, because he started off very well on that 79. Good safety.
Well, that was one shot that he could have played, Stuart. He played a very similar one at his last visit to the table, but this time he felt that he could take a thin edge on the left-hand side of the red, which would offer him a good safety shot, and he's played it very well.
Yes, the quality of the safety is forcing Maguire to go for this. May not be a shot he would have played otherwise. Got a backspin here. Now you can see the power in his game. Is a tremendous shot to screw that red. Play off the red and screw it back that far. The reds come down the table, as they made it a little bit easier. Stewart to play a good safety. He's a bit restricted because the cue ball was tight on the cushion. Couldn't impart any backspin or side spin. It's awkward, this safety bout they're in, because of all the reds on the right hand side of the table. It doesn't give either player a good path. There's a risk trying to get back to the balk area. No pots on this time. Looks like he's just going to possibly knock one of the reds. Well, hold on a minute, he's looking for a plant now. Always looking for the aggressive shot, Stephen. It's not available, the two reds there. You can see the angle. He's going to have to cut the first red very thin to make the plant. And of course what he's also trying to do is avoid hitting another ball. You've got to find the gap between that black and the red to the left of the black. Very complicated. Well, he found the gap. Well played. Doesn't seem like an important shot now, but if he made an error,
Well, that shot could make a world of difference in this frame. Black is now free as a result of that last safety from Stewart. Problem is, he does seem to have left the odd chance here for Steve Maguire with a long red. This is the one he's chosen. No. Oh, he's very angry, isn't he? New cue for Steve Maguire. Oh, dear me.
He seems calm enough anyway. Hope no young boys go up to him and ask for his autograph at this moment. Make it a headbutt. A Glasgow kiss. Oh well. It's not such an important miss now from Steve Maguire. He was very disappointed with him because he knew it was the red that could have given him momentum again, but he's been given another chance. And he shows disappointment to it, but nothing else. Big shot that one. That wasn't an easy shot, dropping it in at dead weight. To clear a few reds now above the black is a good chance.
It's funny though, isn't it, Terry? He's probably absolutely over the moon now that he missed that long red earlier. It led to this opportunity because Stewart missed that middle distance red.
I don't think Maguire does over the moon.
9.
A little bit awkward there with the cannon, but he had a choice of pink or black. Black is slightly the more difficult pot, but may give him better chance of getting good position. White with his feet. Just slow enough though.
16.
Just to go through that far corner. Well, it moved up a little bit then.
$17.
Big visit this for Steve Maguire. Perhaps the most important one so far in this match. If your opponent starts coming back at you and it's in front, you've got to win the next frame.
24.
Yeah, it's just to halt their momentum. Had a half-century break in every single frame so far this afternoon.
25.
In fact, there's only been 150 break. All the rest have been 60 or above. Obviously, the highlight was the 114, with which Steve Maguire secured his 3-1 interval lead. He'll be hoping to do similar here. Couldn't possibly ask for the Reds to be in better positions than this.
Not happy. Come a little too straight on the black, and if the red on the left-hand cushion, as we see in the picture there, is in his way, to restrict his position or options. Well, he's looking now to play for red in the centre. That's a very good attempt. A little unfortunate it looks from here.
40.
May be able to pot the red that's directly below the pink. But he is canning into another red. Makes a big difference, of course, when you can reach it. You don't have to use the rest.
Well, it's all worked out very well now for Stephen. It was actually a very fast bounce off the top cushion that led him initially to being too straight on the black and having to play that deep screw back off the side cushion, but when he played it, it developed the reds even better. And now he's potted that one at full stretch. He's in even better position now. Break goes to 48.
48.
And just doing my mathematics, that is 6 reds and 6 blacks. I wonder if Stephen knows that. Sometimes when you've had to play all kinds of difficult positional shots and pots to keep the break going, you forget that you've had all blacks.
$49.
Spoil sport.
Very well struck, that one.
55.
Those are the type of shots that installs a little more self-belief in yourself, because it slipped out of position a little bit.
56.
His final so far has been a masterclass in break building from both players.
$62. 63.
So just this black and one more red required to extend his lead to 2 frames. He shouldn't have any problem with the red. Can he make another century break?
70. 71.
Wow.
78.
Obviously not too happy, but he knows this frame's gone now.
$79.
Still a possible 145 on here for Stuart. I beg your pardon, for Stephen.
$86.
Highest break prize here this year of £1,500 is within the grasp here of Stephen. But he will need blacks with all of these reds, because I believe the highest break at the moment is a 144 made by Mark Selby.
$94. 95.
Well, could have easily held for the pink there, but Stephen does seem to be aware. The tournament highest break to date. Now this is great stuff. He's Terry said, we've had a masterclass of break building this afternoon. It's a 6th consecutive half century or above. 2 of them have been centuries now.
$103.
Oh dear.
110.
Well, the pot's not too difficult, except for the fact if he does want to eclipse the tournament highest break so far, he's going to have to do a lot with the cue ball. Oh, he's missed the red. Hang on. Can he fluke it? Can he fluke it? Oh, not quite. Well, never mind. An excellent break from Steve Maguire of 110. He restores his 2-frame lead in this match at 4-2.
It's another century break for Stephen Maguire. Darren Morgan is here after his little lie down. We've invited him to the studio. Darren, good to see you. We've had a little reshuffle in the commentary box. Very good to see you. He's on a roll, isn't he, Stephen?
Yeah, he's playing very well, you know. He did it last night in his match there. It was one visit snooker, and he's carried on today. You know, every time he's had a chance, you know, all right, there's been a couple that's gone away, but in the Ool, it's been one chance, he's won the frame.
Stuart Bingham, in the frame just before the interval, got away with a miss blue in the centre pocket. He eventually won that frame, but then he's given Stephen an opportunity in this frame. He cannot keep doing this.
Well, no, you know, he was 2-0 down. I mean, this red with red, it wasn't easy, but he didn't have to do a lot with the cue ball. So all he was trying to do was stun it to a stop, which makes the pot technically a little bit easier. Obviously, didn't go in for him. We all know what's just happened. Stephen Maguire's gone on to win the frame. But, you know, Stuart Bingham was 2-0 down, clawed the frame back to 2-1, goes 3-1 behind. Gets another frame to go 3-2. Now he's missed that opportunity again and led Bingham, Maguire go back into a 4 frames to 2 lead. He just needs to try and get on level terms.
Excellent break of 110 from Maguire. You've picked out one shot that we thought was difficult, but you were impressed with the way he's played this.
Yeah, well, because he's had to play it with loads of top, so that when he pots this red, the white's going to hit the other red, and he had so much top on there. When the red started moving forward, the white stopped dead, and then it started to move again with all the top spin, and he played it to perfection. He won the frame from it.
Does it make a difference for you, Darren, when you look at the people that he's had to beat along the way? Stephen Maguire, some very big names, and I know that Stuart has had to beat Ding Junhui, the reigning champion, but he's beaten Hamilton, Matthew Stevens, Alan McManus and Judd Trump. Does that make a difference on your way to the final?
He probably's been a little bit more tested, you know, on his way there. So he'll be feeling great with his inner self that he's playing well under pressure. He's just scored. He's scored so heavily all week.
Thank you, Darren. Let's rejoin Dominic and Terry.
Well, you take a little bit of a risk taking that shot on if you miss it. It didn't come across to the other pocket. Maybe one in the centre. Very well played. You couldn't have called that a chance. There's one red available. He'd deliberately cap the cue ball below the red so you can split a few reds out possibly.
9.
Well, slightly overdone it. Obviously the pot is more difficult now. It's a thinner cut, but it's more so the control of the cue ball as well. Big shot. Stuart Bingham's turn to have to respond now to that century from Steve Maguire. Doesn't matter what you do out there, there's always an ask in the next frame. Never any doubt.
16.
Let's have a look at this now. Well, it's dead centre all the way. It started to move a little bit. God, somebody must have opened the door upstairs.
Do you think he's got the speed of the table, Terry? Oh, that was a very, very difficult pot that Stewart took on there. Have a look at this. If you don't catch that ball on the cushion at the same time, you won't pot those. What a shot. I mean, to be fair, if you play 10 of those, I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't get any of them. You've got to trust the table as well, not to for the cue ball not to deviate offline, and that's another factor.
It is one of those shots, isn't it? If he missed it, they say what a ridiculous shot, and when he gets it, it's courageous, brave. It was a great shot.
25. $31.
Well, dead straight on the red. I'm sure Stewart will be playing for the black here. Yeah, that's perfect, because
32.
now he can stun up into the cluster of the reds, and he should automatically be on the one into the left corner, one that's the lowest of the group of reds that we can see.
It all looks so easy. Of course, they're two of the best players in the world. But there's so much skill in the shots they're playing. So much to appreciate in their control of the cue ball.
40.
Su Ying then cleaning the cue ball. She's gracing us with her presence in this final today. Very nice to see.
Yeah, from Shanghai. Speaks a very good level of English.
47.
She's doing a very good job here this afternoon too. It's a good
48.
riposte this from Stuart Bingham, having sat out the last frame. It's in its entirety. Didn't score a point, didn't pot a ball. Well, he's got an angle here if he wishes to go into the reds, but looks to be one or two potable ones.
Sorry. 55.
No, he pulled it to the near corner.
Bingham,
Disappointment, he's so close there to taking this frame with a big break, but an excellent 55. Not sure if the outside red on the right there goes in past the pink to the top corner. No, he's just playing a safety. Pretty well played. What you've got to do is stop the white from coming away from the cushion and that type of shot. Leave it as tight as possible. As you can see, so Bingham can only roll up to the reds now. We can't play any spin on the ball. jumped up there quickly, Stewart. I don't know whether he thought he'd move it off, Dominic.
Yeah, it happened, didn't it, yesterday in the evening semi-final with Judd Trump. Very similar thing. Yeah, he thinks it's just deviating to the right, doesn't he? He was concerned because he thought if it did so a little bit more, he may have left a red on into the left corner. Wonder how he's going to feel about playing the same shot again here.
Sometimes when you're playing a very gentle roll up the table, the cue ball can move on those marks. You see the hand marks where the player's bridge hand has been. A few chalk marks there. When the cue ball's going very gently, it's easy for it to deviate offline. There's not much cloth in them these days, Dominic. They're shaved, aren't they? They're very fast.
Yeah, these cloths are double shaved, these number 10 cloths that we use. So as you say, Terry, there's not a lot of finger marks that you see, but certainly the cue ball can deviate if they run along one of them. I think they're all Stuart Bingham's. Have you seen the size of his hands?
I don't study men's hands, to be honest, Dominic. See, because he's not tight on the cushion, Stephen Maguire may be able to impart enough backspin on the red to the left there. Bring it back towards the black, or behind the black would be perfect. No, he's just rolling it. Just leaving the white on the side cushion. He knows he'll have a more difficult safety to face the next time. Or he should do anyway.
Yeah, I love what Steve Maguire's doing here. He's just setting himself up for a clearance if he gets the chance. Making sure that these reds are all potable.
He's not looking at a pot yet, is he? No, he played a double across. My apologies to it. Very good choice of shot and very well played.
Well, if Stephen doesn't feel that he's got an easy safety shot to play, there is a red that's just next to the yellow that he could pot. This one here. Decides to play a safety off it instead, and that's probably the wise choice, although unfortunately the kiss to the yellow has given maybe Stewart an opportunity of it. There's also a very thin clip back into the left centre. These are all things you consider if you don't feel you've got a good safety shot on.
Well, although Stuart Bingham's a very positive player, his shot selection is always on the aggressive side. He'll be fully aware that a mistake here could cost him. And he feels he's almost there at 55 points in front. How good was that? Tell you something, that's one of the best pots of the match so far. Excellent from that position.
Yeah. 8. 9.
That pot looks fish going to be a frame winner. And deserved to be.
14.
Nothing Maguire could do about that.
15.
In his own way, he could have set a trap there for him to go for that. It's high risk. It looks like plenty of gain.
Well, Stuart can relax now. His opponent acquiring 2 snookers. And having potted that red, he won't be coming back to the table in this frame, Stephen Maguire.
$24. $25.
I must say the quality of play since the interval has been excellent from both players, and I'm sure the crowd are really enjoying this match. Most of the neutrals will be looking for a close finish, obviously. I don't think anybody likes runaway matches
30.
in any sport. And the way Stewart's playing, I don't think we're going to get one.
$35. $36.
It's one of those frames when Stephen Maguire won't be giving himself any abuse because
43.
he didn't really have a chance in this frame. And the players then are more
44.
comfortable, their mind is more at peace. So when they miss chances, they carry them forward into the next frame when they lose the frame. That's a lovely shot, isn't it? Only just had enough
53.
pace to get on that yellow. Not a great deal of effort to move the cue ball all that way.
$56. $60. $65.
You had a pin drop here. The only noise is the crack of the balls into the back of the pocket. Beautiful, beautiful setting. Some wonderful snookers here. .78 then from Stuart Bingham, and once again he's fought his way back into this match, but he still trails by 4 frames to 3.
Well, it's a final and we are seeing some quality snooker. Darren, when you look at the stats there, you've got 8 50-plus breaks, 2 of them centuries. When these boys get in, I think it was Terry who described it as really quality, a masterclass in break building.
Well, yes, you know, every frame's had a 50-plus in, you know, 8 breaks and 7 frames of over 50. You know, that's a very high standard in anybody's terms.
How's it looking now? Which way is it just tipped?
Well, I don't think it's just tipped anywhere. The main thing for Stuart Bingham, he's still in the match, and he's now 4-3, he's right back in it. He'd love to win this now and level up. It'll be the first time he's been on level terms since the start. He's been playing catch-up, and for Stephen Maguire, it's a big frame for him to keep his 2-frame deficit.
There are 2 shots that we've picked out. One especially good shot along the cushion here.
Yeah, well, he just dropped the black in, and the black only just got in the pocket. He'd lost the cue ball, but this was just, like Dominic said in comedy, he could play that 10 times and maybe not get it again, but he played it, it's gone in. Perfect executed shot. And
you loved this shot, didn't you?
Yeah, the second red, I don't think I quite agree with Terry saying it was the best shot of the game so far, because the way he played it, the only ball that he could leave on if he missed was the red he played. There was no other shot. He did have a free shot at it, really, but it was a terrific pot. He's got on the black and he won the frame from it.
So, Stephen Maguire, what do you have in your locker? Very interesting piece I read this morning, Terry, saying that Stephen Maguire's getting fed up of journalists and reporters reminding him his last major title was in 2008. What do you think?
Well, I think that anybody's won a major title shouldn't really complain. There's not many win any titles, but it is a long time for such a quality player. He's had a few chances, a few finals during those times, a few close semi-finals in the World Championships as well. Beautiful shot. If he carries on like this, you know, the players will be a little bit frightened to go in front of him.
That's a good point, Terry, yeah. Yeah, he does seem to play very, very well when he's struggling in a match, or, well, frame score-wise anyway. Wow, look at that. You'd think that black was cuttable, wouldn't you? But it obviously isn't. So that's very unlucky.
Bingham, 1.
Yes, I'm with you. I thought it was just cuttable. He looks from the commentary box, but he would have gone for it, obviously, if it was. He just got 1 for that excellent shot. And Maguire's under a little bit of pressure here now. He's dominated this match. Got 2 frames in front 3 times, and he could be pegged back to 4-all, but if he has good luck like that, you never know. I think if Maguire turns up 4-all, he'll be very disappointed, and Stewart will be delighted.
Well, he's snookered on all the reds here. That's one possible escape if he wants to just trickle into the back of the cluster. He may also consider coming off 2 cushions and glancing the red that's just to the right of the pink. But he doesn't want to leave a pot on here for Steve Maguire, not with that black ball so near the left corner.
Well, he's going another way. I would go with your line there. It's like looks straightforward enough. What's he see now? Well, if you can play shots like that, well done. Best of luck. Excellent. Watch this shot now. I can't even tell you how much danger there was in that shot. That's all you had to do was roll off the 2 cushions into the back of the pack, and it's been perfectly safe.
Yes, he hedged his bets there. I mean, he wouldn't have tried to cannon the middle one of the reds below the pink. He would have probably tried to glance off the one just below the pink, but you need to be unlucky to catch something full on. That's just clever thinking, really.
Looked like he's playing the red behind the pink. Thought he may have potted it and had an angle, of course, to get down into the bog as well, so there's no problem. Stuart Bingham's looking now if he can take something on. There is a red available on the right on the side of the table, but he's I'm not sure if he's playing a cut on this one past the black. He is, you know, and he's got it. Fabulous stuff. That's his second very good pot in this 8th frame. Look again, look at the path of the cue ball. If it had been slightly thick or thin on that red, he'd have probably left something on. All credit to him. think he's on nothing, unless there's a plant on there that he hadn't noticed before. Well, that's not on, that one.
Do you think, Terry, if he hits the red sort of full on or just to the right, he might be able to squeeze that in? It looks possible to me.
Obviously, he doesn't think so. There's risk involved in that, but I've got to say his control of his mind is excellent out here. If that is a half possibility of the plant, it'd be difficult to turn it down, but spotted two really top-class reds now in this frame, and slipped out of position. And that can be tough to take. So many players would have chased something. Stephen Maguire then has been frozen out for the last 22 minutes, no pots at all. No pot here either. Plus a safety that doesn't look that easy. Mind you, after 22 minutes, nothing looks easy.
Well, if he's going to come off the right-hand side of this cluster, he's going to have to be very careful he doesn't cannon a red on the way back up to bulk. Could be a sneaky little chance that a red could go possibly into that left corner if he plays this shot, but oh, he's got to be very careful here with the cue ball. Ooh, wasn't far away, but look what he's left.
Good call, Dominic, but he wasn't expecting this red to come over here. So much easier pot this time.
1.
Good angle on the blue. They played that gap between those two reds, so you can never really judge what's going to come out of that pack. If he'd kissed that in half ball, he'd been on nothing. He's having a look for the black, goes into the right corner.
Well, if he does feel the black will pot, if you can leave the cue ball somewhere in that circle there, you should be able to cannon the red to the left of the black.
7.
And free it up a little bit, the black spot area. That'll do.
Perfect call there, Dominic. I don't know why you're not still in the tournament.
Well, at the risk of making myself sound inferior, I didn't take the chances when I had them.
Such an important frame this for Stuart Bingham.
14.
Played more or less perfect so far in this frame. Good long pots, good tactical stuff. Good positional shot there to bring the black away from its spot and open it out. I don't know if it goes anywhere, but may have tied the pink and black up. Maybe a bit short of pace. We're going to have to pot a red from distance to carry this effort going. Obviously pink and black don't pot into the corner. See who played in them.
$20. 21.
That's a better angle off the blue. He's got choices now if he wants to bring the pink and black into play. But there is risk involved. Don't forget he's got to finish up on the red.
$26.
And played for the red on the below the black. He's had a look now if pink or black go into the left centre.
$27.
Something goes.
Pink ball.
Well, it must be the pink. He'll obviously screw into the black here, which will free the pink spot area up, but he's got to get on the red, of course. Well, and if his only potable red is the one into the right centre, he's going to have to be very careful with this. Queuing over the cluster. These are easily missed. Well, played that very confidently. Why not? Played very well so far this afternoon. That was good straight queuing. He even tried to get the top side of the blue there, but he's definitely on this black. Just needs one good positional shot here to really be back in prime position.
Not quite.
41.
The cue ball was an inch or so short. That's how fine the line is. You can pot the red on the left of the pack there if he wants to go for it, if he sees there's any benefits. Certainly can pot it if you can either go through past the pink or screw back for the black. Is a possibility. It's rolled through, but not to the centre of the pocket.
41.
So that break of 41 finishes his effort to try and take this final frame of the first session. But 50 points in front. And so the excellence of the play of Stuart Bingham in the last few frames, frame and a half. Stephen Maguire hasn't potted a ball now for just over half an hour.
I wonder what the record is, Terry, for somebody being shut out a length of time before they've potted a ball. Something I've never been told. It's an interesting statistic that to actually find out how long it's been before somebody's potted a ball in a match.
See Maguire very disappointed there. That red come onto the pocket. He's been, as I mentioned, shut out. Feels as everything's been taken away from him after a 4-2 lead when he just made a century break again, his second of the match so far. Since then he's been a spectator. Nicely played, found the gap. Yellow not on his spot, so the green or blue is the possibility if the blue goes, that is, into the left corner. When it does. Well, it's a bit tight.
The problem is with this blue, you tend to like to pot them just off that bottom jaw. But if Stuart chose to do that, he'd be very close to hitting the red, so this really does have to be potted right into the throat of the pocket. And it's, well, see, he doesn't like it, because he can't pot that blue exactly in the part of the pocket he wants to pot it into. So he's looking at the green now. He'll be swinging the cue ball round off 2 or 3 cushions, with probably the red that's just below the pink.
Bingham, 1.
Well, you could see the difficulty he had there with the positional side of the shot as well, so I thought the blue was a better shot myself, but it wasn't my choice. So is Stephen Maguire going to get on the scoreboard here for the first time in just over 34 minutes? We had a kick. That's amazing. After all that time, a glimmer of hope for him to get in and try and fight back into this frame, 51 points behind, and he had probably the biggest kick we've had so far, Dominic.
Yeah, amazing. We haven't had a kick for a long time. Then Stephen comes to the table, hasn't potted a ball for 34 minutes. Then gets, well, it wasn't a kick, was it? It was a headbutt. Huge kick.
Stuart has asked our referee to clean the cue ball on the red. They never quite know what causes it, whether it's the white ball or the red ball. Stuart will be delighted anyway, he's got another chance.
1.
Stuart will have checked the score. He knows he's 56 up, so just a red and a colour required to level this match.
Oh,
he's missed it. He knew the importance of that red. You can bet your life on that, but never mind. I don't think he's left a pot on here for Stephen, unless the red below the pink will pass the red that Stuart's just missed. Just having a look. Well, it just about does pot. Will he take it on though, because he's got to avoid cannoning the red that's near that right corner on the cushion there. That's the problem.
He deserved that round of applause because he's having a rough old time out there at the moment, Stephen Maguire. I don't think Stuart Bingham can take the red on above the black. He'd be cannon into the other two anyway if he did. He's only 56 points in front. 67 left on the table. So most of the audience thinks, well, he's well in front and he should win this frame, but it's not quite like that when you're out there. You see all the other things that could happen. Just looking now where he can hit that red one above the black to the right there for safety and get back down the table. Doesn't really want to cannon in, you know, kiss into those two reds there because it could go anywhere. And he did, and it has gone anywhere, and the anywhere is over the pocket. That always looked on here if he cannoned that red into the one of them. So, without the kick, Dominic, this is a chance.
Yeah, he's just had a look at the pink, so that would suggest, well, 38 minutes and counting, but if he misses this, I'll die of shock. Now he just wants to be on a colour here, Stephen Maguire, and he'll be happy. And he's on the brown with a good angle. Problem is, that black's not easy to get on. It will pot into the left corner, but he'd have to be near this top cushion to be able to find the potting angle. Pink, well, it'd be better for Stephen if it was on its spot. Yeah, he's played a very good shot there. I like that shot he's played, but it's gone wrong. Wanted a full ball cannon on it. That would have left him on the red that's just below the pink. What does he do now? 51 points behind. He can cut this red in, but it's a very difficult one. And he'll be playing it quite slowly, so if he misses it, it's almost certain to cost him the frame.
Very good pot in the circumstances and a good kiss on the blue. There's still hope.
Fantastic shot there from Stephen Maguire. That's exactly what he played. Lots of screw and right hand side on the cue ball. So give him the angle to get across for this red. But now the work's going to start. Two remaining reds in very tricky positions.
Tight.
18.
Very tight. It's not an easy pot if you're guaranteed to see the potting angle, but it does go though.
Now this is great play from Stephen under pressure. But he needed to be straight on this pink. Normally there would be a good angle here to take the cue ball around the table to come back down towards this last red, but the problem is the green could be in the way here for the shot that he'd like to play. Decision time. Very difficult to see a shot here where you can get good position on the red.
Another clever shot, you know, playing a cannon to bring that yellow into play.
25.
He knew he couldn't get close to this red anyway. Doesn't have to win the frame with this visit, of course. He can wait for another chance. And this pot is a really tough one. And the safety isn't that easy either.
Stephen Maguire, 25.
Well, he found a good shot there, Stephen, but he caught the red too thinly. Wanted this red on the baulk cushion behind the brown. But he's left a chance here for Stewart. Oh, wonderful pot from Stewart. He really has potted some great long reds in this remaining session of the afternoon. And with that yellow, more than done enough now to level this match up at 4-all. Stephen there in your picture will be a little disappointed, I feel. I think he thinks he's played well enough to have a lead in this match going into this evening's final sessions. Oh, look at that, they're all going in now. It's been the only frame of the afternoon's play that hasn't seen a half-century break. But we've still seen 8 half-century breaks.
12.
2 of them century breaks in the course of this session so far. And it's well 17. Set up for tonight. Well, trick shot on the pink. I don't think it's going in, but he won't mind. The players shake hands. Stuart Bingham was 2 frames in arrears at various stages this afternoon, but he's clawed the deficit back each time. He levels a match up at 4 frames all going in tonight's final session.
So that's the end of the first session, and look at that, how tight it is, 4-4. And I'm sure you're sick of me saying this, but all week I started describing him after he beat Neil Robertson the other night as the king of the comeback. And I'm saying it all the time because this guy has got unbelievable battling qualities, hasn't he?
Well, he's proved it again. You know, he's done it in a couple of other matches, and he don't want to go away. You know, he's still nipping at the heels at all times. So if you don't put him away, you know, he's going to come back and pinch the match.
There are a couple of moments that we could have picked out from that frame, but I just want to show the viewers at home this. Now, what would you have done here, Darren?
Well, normally you'd play safe like he tried to do, but in the circumstances and the way he moved the yellow off the cushion, he should have lost the frame before this. There was a bit of value in him going for the red. He's played a bad safety, and obviously Stuart Bingham slotted the red in.
Because his game management so far has been impeccable, if you like, but what you're saying is that he's caught in between 2 minds there, thinking, do I go for this? Do I play the safety? The safety shot, as Terry said, was difficult anyway. He should have had the courage of his convictions and gone for it.
Like you said, normal circumstances have been a safety shot, but due to that frame, if that red had gone in, he'd gone the black, he'd moved the yellow onto the yellow pocket. You know, he'd pot the red, I don't know, 1 in 15, I expect, but that might have been the once that it'd have gone in for him. He had nothing to lose other than the frame, which, I don't know, 10 minutes before that, the frame had already gone. He was chucked a lifeline. And if he had pinched it, it would have really hurt Stuart Bingham. Thinking about it then, a couple of hours before tonight, it would have really, really hurt him.
It's 4-4. Let's just take a look at some of the stats that we've picked out from the match so far. 452 total points, Darren, for Stephen Maguire, up against 390. Look at that success rate when it comes to safety play. 77 plays, 85.
You know, it's been a real good even match now, you'd have to say, and that's why it's 4-4, you know. The long pots have not been great with both players, really. I mean, I know Stuart Bingham's got a much better percentage, but I think it's a fair result, 4-4. Stephen Maguire is going to be more upset than Stuart Bingham. But looking at Bingham's success rate there, it's on 87%. It just goes to show and highlights how much he's got himself back into this final. He was on 71% a couple of frames ago. Well, yeah, at one stage he was on 60% as well, so it was even lower, you know. So it just shows how well he's played in the last couple of frames, and hence that's why he's now back drawing the match. You saw a shot of Stephen sitting in his chair, and he knew that was
That was a turning point there. He sat down, he uttered some words. I don't think we should broadcast those words, but they looked as if they were very strong words anyway.
Yeah, look, Stephen Maguire wears his heart on his sleeve. He shows his emotions out there, you know, bashes his cue, and he doesn't do it to put any players off or to cause any mishaps in any shape.
No, but he's upset and he knows he's given him an opportunity.
Yes, he does, and obviously he knows he's played well at Saffron. He's had 2 centuries himself. He's played very, very well, and you know he will have expected to got out of this session slightly ahead, if not well ahead. Whereas now they're starting from fresh again. Now it's level pegging again.
OK, so what happens now then before 7 o'clock? What is Stephen Maguire thinking? He got off to an absolute flyer.
I think he's just got to try now and put this behind him. The 2 of them will go away. They'll have something to eat. They'll relax, maybe watch a bit of TV and what have you. Get their minds ready for tonight. But for Stephen Maguire, he's got to come out tonight and do the same as he did at the start of the match. And as far as Stuart Bingham's concerned, he's going to have in his head, the way I finished, that's the way I want to start.
Mr Griffith sat on the fence at the beginning of the programme. Am I going to get a prediction from you, just very briefly?
Well, I said from the word go, I fancy Stephen Maguire for experience.
Thank you very much, Darren. So we're back at 7 o'clock this evening, live from the Newport Centre. The final continues. Look at that. It's 4-all, a maximum of 9 frames this evening. Do join us. BBC 2 Wales, the Bet Victor Welsh Open final continues at 7. Bye for now.
When he actually appeared on TV raising cash, I almost fell off the chair.